Okay, to discuss more on what Chandra could bring to the table for Tata Sons and what are the challenges facing him, we're joined by a stellar panel. It doesn't get bigger than this. We've got the doyens of the Tata Group, if I may say so, joining us on ET now this evening, Mr. JJ Irani, Mr. RK Krishna Kumar and Mr. S. Ramadorai. Many would call him the mentor of N Chandra in the first place. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us on ET now. It's a special day for the Tata Group and appreciate you joining us on this special telecast. Mr. Ramadorai, I'm going to start off with you. Ratan Tata to Cyrus Mistry to N Chandra. It's been quite a journey really for the Tatas. Do you think, though, that the task is in many ways cut out for Chandra as he takes charge?
Chandra has earned this position to be the chairman of Tata Sons, and I wish him the very best. He will build a phenomenal team around him and ensure that the values and the ethics of the Tata Group, having had 30 years of experience, would be very well protected. So to me, it's one of those big days where we all need to wish him the very best.
Mr. Irani, you've been an old-timer as well, and for Chandra, it's many firsts really that really add up. He's the first non-promoter to head the Tata Group. He's also the first non-Parsi to take up that corner office in Bombay House. How easy will it really be for Chandra to slip into this new role, because he is, in some sense, an insider and in many others, an outsider?
I don't think those things which you mentioned about being non-Parsi and so on matter now. We live in a wider world. And as far as Chandra's knowledge of the group is concerned, I don't think it can be questioned. He has performed extremely well in TCS, which is by far the most profitable company in the group just now. And he will carry that experience into the whole family now, the Tata family.
Indeed, he's really held that crown jewel together, hasn't he? But Mr. Krishna Kumar, it's been a big day for the Tata Group as Chandra does take charge as the chairman of Tata Sons. You know, it's one thing to talk about him, but what does this also mean for the Tata Group? I mean, one of India's oldest and most respected business houses.
I think as you all know, we've had a long dark night in the last couple of months. And I believe that a new sunrise, a new dawn is beginning to light across the Tata Group with Chandra's appointment. I've known Chandra for many years, and for a long time I've been convinced that he has an extraordinarily different background. He doesn't come from Institute of Technology or from IIM and so on. He comes from simple beginnings, and a very powerful influence on his life appears to be the influence of his parents and his upbringing. And I know that he has developed his sense of values comes from a deep belief in his religious spiritual path that has been shown to him by his parents. So he comes with a set of values that are very enduring, and it's an extremely important constituent for the leadership of the group. It's all about upholding values.
Mr. Krishna Kumar, I want to take you back to how you started your comments, and you began your answer by saying it's been a long, dark night. Could you elaborate on that in detail? What were you specifically referring to?
What I mean by that is all great institutions, organizations, even a great nation must revere institutional memory, the continuity of traditions, of legends, of beliefs, of faith, of vision. All of this needs to be kept as a sacred inheritance from the past. That appears to have snapped in the last 3 or 4 years, and I think contributes significantly to the problems that the group faced and that compel a change at the top. And I think Chandra is a person who brings tremendous combination of qualities and attributes that are specifically designed to fill up that gap and to be able to have a tradition of passing on the baton, taking the baton, running with it for the next 20 years, and then passing it on to new hands much later.
Mr. Irani, Mr. Chandrasekharan's appointment comes we can't forget the context of this appointment at a time when many would say that the reputation of the group has taken a bit of a damage, a bit of a knock. Do you think that Chandra will have to work extra hard to earn that goodwill back?
Chandra is a very hard worker has been, as far as I know him, for the past 20 years. I don't think it is a matter of him working hard. He's worked to his limit already. Maybe in a more restricted area. He will now have to pick up other companies and, shall we say, advise and guide them. It's not a matter of more hard work. It's more a matter of portioning his time between the various companies.
Mr. Ramadorai, of everybody in this panel here, you perhaps worked most closely with Chandra. What, according to you, will be counted as his key strengths as he gets on to what we're calling the marathon of his life?
His key strengths are, like I said, focus, problem solving, get the best team, bring in appropriate technology, and then digitize as far as possible. But more importantly, listen to the entire board, independent directors, and the teams around him, and empower people.
Right. Mr. Krishna Kumar, let me toss it to you and talk about the challenges really as well that N Chandrasekharan is going to focus on right now. Having been a part of the Tata Group for so long, looking into the future, what do you think are some of the key challenges for the group, and how would you like Chandra to address them specifically?
That, I think, is strictly speaking to be left to him, and I'm sure he will handle it. But my own view is that the last couple of years, I have personally seen Tata Group companies moving away from the central focus. It used to be very strongly anchored in the vision of Tata Sons. That has been weakened in the last couple of months, and I believe that he will bring the degree of cohesion and synergy in the group to a significant extent, enough to lead it into the new age. And the big challenge will be to make sure that TCS remains a high performer. It's an extraordinary performance that TCS has recorded in all these last few years. And he would need to make sure that that continues. The second equally important challenge for him would be to drive the operating companies to greater performance, greater results, so that the imbalance in the revenue stream for Tata Sons is to some extent corrected as we go forward. Each company would have to make a contribution as significant, if not as significant, certainly significant, like in the case of TCS. So getting the Tata operating companies to work together, to focus together, to combine together, to synergize together would be another challenge. The third, of course, is an opportunity. They're all opportunities. Would be to understand what is happening in India and to make sure that in most of the sectors, Tata companies remain dominant leaders as it has been in the past. And maybe we have lost a little ground in some of these areas. But I think my challenge for him would be to recover the leadership position for Tata companies in the coming months and few years ahead. And the third thing would be a good understanding, a global vision of what's happening to the world and how is it relevant to India and how is it relevant to Tata, and how to bring all this together so that you can cross new milestones as you reach the group forward. These are the big challenges that they has.
Mr. Ramadorai, Chandra is really a software man, and all credit goes to him for making such a huge success out of TCS. But how difficult will it really be for him to run a rather diversified conglomerate which is operating in very many different fields, from shipping to salt to software to steel to aviation, automotives, making air conditioners and all of that?
If you look at the transition of the industry, even from a software perspective, it started out as purely a hardware specialized capability in the platforms which he knew, followed by the capabilities where hardware and applications and software become a way of life. When he went from that, the client started asking about the domain capabilities of organizations, and TCS built enormous amount of domain capabilities, verticalized the organization across multiple domains. So in this journey, and having done 30 years or more, he has picked up a number of capabilities, including a number of people in TCS who have picked up the domain capabilities. We had also recruited, and he had also recruited a number of people laterally with domain capabilities who have given him a number of inputs on looking at various industries and the challenge faced by the industries. So the integration of technology in the domain, or domain absorbing the technology, has become very visible in the last couple of years or in the last 10 years or so. I think so when he steps into a salt to manufacturing or diversified set of businesses within the Tata Group, I think not only he but the team with which those companies are being run and the board of directors in each of these teams will support him to the hilt. I think it's the responsibility of leaders to empower people, and seeing that empowerment is what produces the best. A scale opportunity like this and a scale need like this will always bring the best capabilities, including professional competencies. That's the way I look at it. That's the way this opportunity will be looked at.
All right, so leaders should come together and then support, of course, the top boss. But Mr. Irani, what is your view? I mean, Chandra has had huge success at TCS. How do you think he's going to get adept? And I'm sure he's prepared for this job now, but how exactly do you believe he is going to excel at a group that makes and is in such diversified fields? I mentioned the fields to Ramadorai. I don't want to repeat those to you, but I'm just trying to get a sense of what is the adaptation that perhaps he needs to do along the way.
It depends on how the person adapts himself. In all cases, whoever is appointed will have come from a restricted environment. Whoever is the person, you cannot have somebody who is experienced in all the Tata Group companies, ready-made, so to speak. So the new person has to adapt himself, and Chandra is best suited for that adaptation.
Mr. Krishna, let's talk about Chandra's leadership style. How different do you think his leadership style will it be from his predecessor? And more importantly, will his tech background come handy in his new role as the Tata Group chairman?
The fact that he's a quintessential Tata man also means that he would expect to build a team for himself, drawn from people working within the group and fresh new talent where it is necessary, and blend them into the team that he wants to lead with the group with. The other aspect I think is important to understand is Tata Group is multiple industries, diverse industries, and I think because of the technology position that TCS enjoys, he has interacted with many of the companies, the rank and file of operating companies. So he will bring, in my sense, a new sense of synergy and cohesion within the group that will give it clear directions to move forward. And importantly, I think it's very essential for somebody leading the Tata Group today into the next 20 years to understand where the world is going. And the world is going into a new destination. I believe that we would not recognize the world in another 10, 15 years' time. It's very largely impacted by technology, new technologies across the world. And in all of this, on a continuing basis, TCS will remain connected. And his own relationship with TCS will also make available that avenue for knowledge for the Tata group of companies. So I would say that when you put all of this together, it's quite an extraordinary formula for at least the beginning. We know that he's starting off with a very good future ahead of him, and he has got these leadership qualities, he's got the background that we've talked about, which I think makes him an ideal candidate to lead the group into the future.
Since you spoke about TCS, Mr. Irani, TCS and JLR without a doubt have been the star performers, maximum contributors for the Tata Group in terms of revenues. Will his key role really now be to get other Tata companies to make meaningful contributions and, more importantly, turn in profits, whether it's the telecom arm, whether it's a domestic automobiles business? Will his key challenge be to ensure that those businesses also turn in profits?
Look, all Tata companies have their own independent boards and their own independent targets, and they will work to the ability which, shall we say, they possess. I don't think it is Chandra's role to increase the profitability in each and every company. That the board and the chief executive of that company would do. Chandra's role is to coordinate all the activity.
Mr. Ramadorai, given the circumstances that Chandra is coming in and, he's coming at the back of a bitter battle and some very key issues that were raised by Cyrus Mistry, what are really going to be his biggest challenge? Say goodbye to Nano, a venture that has now become a part of public discourse, wash out the chorus blues, or perhaps settle matters, smoke the peace pipe, or do whatever with Docomo?
I think whenever a position like this taken up, immediately you have to run. I think at the same time you have to realize that it's going to be a marathon, because you are going to be running the group for a very long time and putting the strategy for the future as well. So it's a combination of short-term solutions, short-term problem solving, and middle-term and medium-term and long-term. So I think one has to compartmentalize, and he's exceptionally good at it, and that's what he would look to. But I think all I can say is I wish him the very best, and the best solutions will come from him. But this question should be addressed to him if at all you are seeking for an answer. But finally, time will tell that the person chosen, namely Chandra, was the right choice.
So as we wrap things, Mr. Irani, which is more difficult to imagine, a TCS without Natarajan Chandrasekaran, the man really responsible for that grand success, or Chandra without TCS?
Oh, I think all companies find a leader. So just because Chandra is no longer the chief executive of TCS, he's there still in a broader role. I don't think TCS will suffer as a result of Chandra becoming the head of the whole group.
We asked that question to Mr. Ramadorai as well, who's also been a TCS veteran and having worked with Chandra so closely. You know TCS, you know Chandra. What's more difficult to imagine, TCS without Chandra or Chandra without TCS?
I think first of all, TCS has built enormous amount of depth and talent, and he continues to be the non-executive chairman of TCS. So TCS, with its strength and having appointed the CEO, the chief operating officer and the CFO today, will definitely function as per the requirements and on the journey of excellence to put this country on a leadership map led by TCS. With regard to the group itself, they would welcome a person with kind of capabilities and the kind of performance he has demonstrated over the years, from the beginning and more importantly from 2009 when he became the CEO. I think both of them have to see in that light, one incoming as executive chairman and the other one as a non-executive chairman, with the right leadership and the right talent that has been built.
Closing comments from our panelist, Mr. Krishna Kumar. Going forward, don't you think there's also a case for structural changes within the Tata Group as far as the role of the trusts are concerned? Do you think it's time now to revisit some of the structures and look at changes there as well?
My own personal view is it worked very well all these years. Tata Sons has stood for stability and the endurance of values which has really helped operating companies immensely. I recall when I was in Tata Global Beverages, in terms of making out foreign acquisitions of beverage companies as part of the strategic plan, large acquisitions, it was the presence of Tatas in the equation that made it so much easier for us to talk to the banks, the financing to institutions, to the regulators, and to the companies that we were acquiring. It was a passport to the world, quite unlike any other company in India.
As the elder statesman on this show, Mr. Irani, I'm going to get you the last word then. Parting words to Chandrasekharan, and what will your real message to him be as he takes on this onerous task of running the Tata Empire?
First of all, he will have my blessings and all the goodwill that Jamshedpur can provide. And I wish him all the best. And I'm quite sure that he will make a great success of the new responsibility that he has undertaken.
All right, on that very positive note, Mr. J.J. Irani, Mr. S. Ramadorai and Mr. Krishna Kumar, thank you very much for being with us on a big day as far as Bombay House is concerned, and also a big day for India Inc. It perhaps is a big thumbs up for meritocracy in India Inc. Thanks very much for joining us right here on ET Now.
That's right, Supriya. Whichever way we look at this story, we've been very critical of the way things have unfolded over the last couple of weeks, the last couple of months, and this entire bitter boardroom battle. But one cannot take away the fact that this is a monumental, tectonic shift as far as corporate India is concerned, and meritocracy has indeed won, with N Chandra taking charge as the chairman of Tata Sons.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.